Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So Transfer Daily guys, obviously giving you the latest news and what players of course are linked with Manchester United and all that. So as you all know, as I've been giving you an update on a regular basis, that obviously Daniel James is going to be our first signing for this summer, and obviously he's going to be our first signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So as we all know, we have agreed an initial £15 million fee with Swansea. Obviously add-ons are included in the deal, which do potentially rise the deal up to around £18 million, of course, so that is a reasonable figure. Obviously, as it confirmed yesterday, that Daniel James undergone his medical with Manchester United, so it's very, very good news indeed. Like I said, he's 21 years of age, so he's going to fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring young players to Manchester United this summer. So Daniel James, obviously from his own perspective, wanted to make the move to Manchester United, because obviously quite a few teams were in for him right at the final hurdle. Obviously Brighton inquired about him, inquired about his services. Obviously Leeds nearly got him in January, but Swansea pulled out of the deal right at the final hurdle. And obviously Everton inquired about his services. Like I said, he's taken a huge step, coming from the Championship, to the Premier League. But the question is, has Daniel James, got the abilities? Has he got the minerals to make it to the highest level, of course? But don't get me wrong, he's a low expectation. He is a cheap acquisition, and obviously we do know he's primarily a winner. He can also play as an attacking midfielder. You can also rotate him to the right flank, but I think he's supposed to be more effective from that left hand side. So I do presume that's where Manchester United, of course, will put him. And obviously, the personal terms and that have been agreed. Obviously, the move has been a bit of a delay. Obviously, based on his father passing away, and obviously, Manchester United have allowed him the time and space that he does need. I think he only broke into Swansea City's senior squad last season, and he did really, really well. I think he made about 39 appearances. Obviously, he's only got a year left on his deal with Swansea, of course. But, £15 million is a reasonable figure. Like I said, he's a surprise solution. He's a low expectation. But like I said, it's not always about spending big on players. It's not always about getting them well-established players, because he doesn't always guarantee you success. Like I said, you can get the best players in the world. If they're not playing as a unit and they're not working as a team, of course, it's not going to get you in that commanding position, of course, where you do currently want to be. But obviously, we have got a history of spending big on players, especially in recent years. Lukaku, 75 million. Obviously, Paul Pogba, of course, 89 million pounds, our most expensive signing. So Daniel James, of course, is going to be our first signing, which is very, very good news. Obviously, Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 players to the club, because he does believe we need at least 5 new additions in. Obviously, he wants to fulfill areas where he thinks Manchester United, of course, are lacking, and you can see the deficiencies in the squad. I do believe, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a better fit for this squad than what Jose Mourinho was, even though it has all gone wrong, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got the job permanently, because obviously, reflecting back when he was the interim manager, in his first 3 months, everything was going well. The performances were really, really good, and them expectation levels were exceeded. But obviously, it has all gone wrong, since he has got the job permanently. But like I said, we've got to give him the time to spend this summer, see who he can bring into the club, and then see what happens, of course, going on into next season. And if he does continue to persist this bad vein of form, then I will be critical of Solskjaer, then I will want him out. But, I still love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he was a great player for us for 11 years under Alex Ferguson. But obviously, on this squad's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. As I know, a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United, since Alex Ferguson retired. Obviously, about £700 million has been invested in all the managerial areas. Of course, we've had different managers with different philosophies, of course. But yeah, like I said, we've been playing catch-up for the last 5 or 6 years. I think, I think it's going to be hard for us to get our number one targets this summer, because obviously we're not in a Champions League football for next season, and it's always pivotal to get into the Champions League so you can get the players that you do want, of course. But there's obviously so many players on our agenda. Some people have said, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because there's quite a lot of the players that are there for a reasonable figure on our agenda. So, we didn't spend out in January. We didn't get as number one priority targets there last summer. Obviously, because the board weren't backing, Jose Mourinho's signings that he wanted to recommend to come into the club. And obviously, a couple of main factor reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho, because obviously he had bad disputes with the board, obviously had bad disputes with the players, including Paul Pogba. I think he had a really, really bad relationship with Paul Pogba. He also had disputes, like I said, with the other players, and it didn't work out under me, even though he did win 2 trophies in his first season. Obviously, Mourinho spent just under £400 million on 11 players. Of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's inheriting them now. He's obviously inheriting players here from the Van Gaal era. I think we spent like 200 odd million under Louis Van Gaal, and obviously I think we spent like 67 million under David Moyes. Obviously, Matt's still here from the David Moyes era. Obviously, initially Fellaini was here, but obviously he left back in January, and there's still 4 or 5 players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So potentially, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting all them players, of course. But there is cultural problems at the club. I do agree that we need a structural change at the club, and that's obviously getting a director of football in. That's very essential indeed. Like I said, there's been quite a few candidate names mentioned, but obviously it would be ideal to recommend someone who knows about the club, someone who, of course, who's obviously got the experience. So we've definitely got to get a director of footballing. I think 3 or 4 players are expected to leave Manchester United this summer. Like I said, all the players that we do want to leave, I don't think we're going to be able to address this problem in one window. It's going to take a couple of windows to address that problem. Like I said, another problem with Manchester United, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, that's been another issue. But like I said, I think we need a right back, we need 2 central defenders, we need 3 new additions in that midfield if Pogba leaves, we need a striker if Lukaku leaves especially, we need a right winger. So yeah, you can see the areas where we are currently lacking, because obviously, reflected on last season, we conceded far too many goals, so we've got issues defensively. Obviously, I think we need someone up front that can score us them goals, because obviously, last season we wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal, we wasn't creative enough in the attacking third of the pitch, and we, of course, wasn't scoring enough goals. So I think we need someone that can win us them goals, because obviously the likes of Rashford and Martial haven't graduated to that level yet, and they're not reliable enough as yet, to deliver us them goals that we do need. And with Romelu Lukaku, as you all know, I've got strong reservations about him, but these are possibilities, chance that Lukaku could remain at the football club. Obviously, we are getting 200 odd million pounds to spend this summer. Like I said, that should be enough to bring at least 5 players in, but it's going to mount up to a lot more. It's going to mount up to a lot more than 200 odd million pounds. Depending, obviously if we sell Lukaku and Pogba, obviously, if we do sell them, it's going to help us with our rebuilding process, and it will help us with our transition. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on trying to keep his imperative players at the football club. But like I did basically say, there's a lot of players on our current agenda, and obviously we know Daniel James' move to Manchester United now is imminent, of course, which is very, very good news. But obviously, we want to build on that, obviously, get more players in along with Daniel James. So Bruno Fernandes, of course, it's been looking very imminent. He's going to be coming to Manchester United, of course. Obviously, Manchester United have scheduled a meeting with Sporting Lisbon. I think is it for next week, to get a deal finalised. Initially, I think we wanted to get a deal finalised for him this week. I think we are set to get him in a deal worth around 71 million pounds. Obviously, we're preparing to offer more than Manchester City for his services, because we do know mainly it has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for Bruno Fernandes' services. But I really, really like him. He's only 24 years of age. He's primarily an attacking midfielder, so if Pogba was to leave the club, he would be the adequate replacement for him. I think it did initially say, according to a baller, the Portuguese press there said now Manchester City have opted out of the race. So he said Manchester City are no longer interested in Bruno Fernandes, even though reports came out the other week saying that they were emerged as the front runners to get a deal over the line for him. I think it only said that Manchester City were only willing to offer up to around £47 million for him, but it did say City were willing to offer a couple of their players as part of the deal. So we do know Bruno Fernandes being subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. He gave us an update on his future the other week, saying that he's still unsure about his future. He's had a good couple of years with Sporting Lisbon, and he has had a good couple of years with Sporting Lisbon, and I do believe he can replicate this form in the Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. I do believe he can exceed expectation levels in the Premier League, and it will take his footballing career to the next level, of course. His initial release clause is around £86 million in his contract with Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, he did say Manchester United and Manchester City were reluctant to trigger his release clause. But now it could take a twist, to be quite fair, because now Liverpool have entered the race for him reportedly. Bruno Fernandes, I think, came out earlier on this week, admitted that he does like Liverpool. Also, too, now Tottenham have reportedly entered the race for him. Now, some reports in Portugal have actually said that Tottenham are close to signing Bruno Fernandes, because obviously Tottenham have got quite a few midfielders on their agenda. Obviously the likes of Liverpool and Tottenham can offer Bruno Fernandes Champions League football. Obviously Manchester United can't offer Bruno Fernandes Champions League football, but I still believe we are emerging as front runners to get the players' signature. But yeah, as says now Tottenham are currently in for him, because obviously Christian Eriksen's linked with a move to Real Madrid, so if Christian Eriksen goes, obviously Tottenham are going to want a replacement for him. So now Tottenham are now interested in Bruno Fernandes, of course, because obviously Tottenham want to do transfer activity this summer. They want to get, maybe a player or two in, because obviously, they haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. Obviously, they haven't. I think the last player they signed was it Lucas Moura back in January 2018, and I think they signed Davinson Sanchez a couple of years ago from Ajax for around £42 million, and actually, that's their record signing. So obviously, Pochettino's going to want back in this summer, because it came out a while ago saying, Pochettino has threatened to resign as Tottenham manager if he is currently, not back to this summer, because obviously, like I said, they haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. So potentially, Tottenham are seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative, to Giovanni Lo Celso, because I think according to the Mirror, Tottenham have had a bid turned down, a bid rejected for Giovanni Lo Celso. I think he had a bid of around, was it 52 or 53 million pound a 53 million pound bid turned down, I think with add-ons included. Did say Tottenham last month had put a bid in for him of around 53 million pound, was it? But obviously, this figure is not going to be enough, for Real Betis to currently offload Giovanni Lo Celso. So I think from Giovanni Lo Celso's perspective, he wants to make the move to Tottenham. Obviously, we've been interested in Giovanni Lo Celso. He's only young, he's 23 years of age. If I'm right, I think he's a central midfielder, but he did really, really well with Real Betis last season. I think he scored like 16 goals in all competitions. Obviously, Real Betis got him from PSG last summer. Initially, he was on loan with Real Betis, but I think, Real Betis actually made the deal permanent back in April. I think they paid around 19 or 20 million pounds, to make the deal permanent. Tottenham have been in negotiations with Real Betis. We're concluding a deal, of course, to get a deal over the line, because he's obviously, Tottenham have emerged him as a priority target, of course, but now obviously they've had a bid rejected. They are turning their attentions more on Bruno Fernandes. So I think Giovanni Lo Celso's release clause is around, £88 million, and I think, Real Betis are demanding that they either want that release clause triggered, or they're demanding that they want somewhere close to his release clause being triggered. So maybe they want around maybe 70 or 80 million pounds. Whether Tottenham would be willing to pay that or not, I do not know. But if Tottenham were to get a deal over the line for Giovanni Lo Celso, obviously, it would become their record signing. So yeah, so I think he does want to make the move to Tottenham. But now Bruno Fernandes is on Tottenham's current agenda as an alternative. But I want Bruno Fernandes to come to Manchester United, because I think, he'd bring them goals that we need. He'd also bring them assists that we do need. If I'm right, didn't he score about 28 goals in all competitions last season for Sporting Lisbon? But he also had a lot of experience of playing in Italy, when he was younger, with the likes of San Pandora and Underneath. But I hope that he can come to Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, because he has been on our agenda, for quite some time. As he updated you earlier on about Youri Tielemans, he's also on Tottenham's agenda. Is Youri Tielemans. He's also on our agenda, is Youri Tielemans. I still think his future is up in the air at the moment. I think from Youri Tielemans' perspective, he is expected to make a return back to Monaco. Obviously, he's been on loan with Leicester, so I think he's had about 5 or 6 months experience, under his belt in the Premier League, with Leicester, and he's done really, really well with Leicester. To be quite fair, as Youri Tielemans, he's only 22 years of age. I think he's primarily a central midfielder, but I think he came out about this, was it 3 weeks ago, something like that Manchester United, Tottenham, and Arsenal had all inquired about his services. But I think actually, Leicester are keen on getting him on a permanent deal, and I think Leicester have been in talks with Monaco over getting Youri Tielemans on a permanent deal. But we do know Manchester United are in there for him. Also, Tottenham are in there for him. But he's done very, very well throughout his loan spell with Leicester. Obviously, I think initially he's at Monaco. Obviously, Monaco I think paid around £21 million for him from Anderlecht. Obviously, I think he's got a contract to Monaco till 2022. But Youri Tielemans is available for a reasonable figure, because I think Monaco rate him at around £40 million, of course. So Manchester United are in there for him, Tottenham are in there for him. Like I said, previously Arsenal have been in there for him. So would you like Youri Tielemans at Manchester United? Let me know in your comments below. And I think we have identified him as a potential replacement for Pogba if Paul Pogba, of course, leaves Manchester United. So obviously, there has been a lot of talks about that going on. But like I was saying with Paul Pogba, I still think there's a possibility he could remain at the football club, based on the huge transfer fee that was put on Paul Pogba. We do know recent reports have said that Juventus are interested in re-signing him. We do know Real Madrid are heavily linked to him, of course. I think Paul Pogba's first choice preference is Real Madrid. Obviously, and Zinedine Zidane, of course, is keen on getting a deal over the line for him because Zinedine Zidane's obviously got a lot of players on his agenda this summer. But obviously, his main priority targets are obviously, Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. I think Real Madrid now are obviously, going to have to orchestrate something out to try and get Paul Pogba because I don't think they're keen on a straight cash payment because obviously, initially we don't want to lose Paul Pogba and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is. But I think we are demanding that we want around 150 or 160 million pounds. I mean, obviously, Real Madrid are reluctant, to pay up to the 150 or 160 million pounds for Paul Pogba. So I think Real Madrid are going to have to orchestrate some out. Same with Juventus. Basically, Juventus may have to offload a couple of their essential players to fund the move for Pogba. Obviously, I don't think Juventus can afford, to get him outright. Obviously, Di Marzio, the Italian journalist, who was very reliable, especially in relation to Manchester United when it comes to transfers. He said Juventus have made initial contact with Manchester United. It also says Juventus have been in negotiations with his agent Raiola. But if Paul Pogba does leave, I probably think he'll end up making the move to Real Madrid, if I'm going to be quite honest, because that's his preferred destination. Maybe he would be open to making a return back to Turin because he did have 4 good years with Juventus. He won the he won 4 Serie A's on the trot. He won 2 Coppa Italians, was it? And he did really, really well. But he hasn't really replicated this form, since he has come back to Manchester United. Like I said, we paid £89 million for him. But recent reports have said anyway that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's relationship is slowly fading, with Paul Pogba. Obviously, Solskjaer's doing everything he can, to convince him to remain here. Obviously, it came out the other week saying that we was willing to offer him the captaincy. Obviously, we know the captaincy is going to be given to Ashley Young for next season. But yeah, I think it did say willing to offer him the vice captaincy role. But this isn't going to be enough to convince him to remain at the football club. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Well, initially 2 years with an option of a further year. But at least Paul Pogba's agent Raiola, at least in the last 5 or 6 weeks, has been in the process of finding him a new club. But we do know Paul Pogba was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation last year. Based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Last year there were talks about him making a return to Juventus. There were also talks about him, going to Barcelona. But Paul Pogba's 26 and he is still an imperative player and he's in his prime. He's still got a lot of development in him, but maybe a couple of the main factor reasons why he wants to leave Manchester United because maybe he wants to, be in Champions League football, wants to be competing, wants to be winning trophies, maybe wants to be playing amongst better players, and he's not experiencing this, of course, at Manchester United. But Zinedine Zidane has instructed his Real Madrid board, to prioritise a transfer for Pogba because he wants to link Paul Pogba, with Casemiro in his Real Madrid midfield. So Real Madrid are obviously, going to offload players this summer so they can make room in their midfield and all that, so they can make room for the likes of Pogba to go there, for the likes of Hazard to go there. But yeah, so there is still a possibility chance that Paul Pogba, could remain in the football club. But, we've identified Jovi Tillemans as a possible replacement for him. Obviously, there has been a lot of talks about James Maddison from Leicester. Obviously, we could identify him as a replacement for Paul Pogba. But I think, according to the Metro now, he's insisting on staying with Leicester. Obviously, even though the likes of City have been in for him, Liverpool have been in for him, Tottenham have been in for him. Obviously, they've been tracking him, since he was a youngster, a teenager at Coventry, of course. But the reports in the last couple of days have suggested out saying, we're interested in James Maddison. It did reportedly say that we've made contact with James Maddison and his representatives over the potential move to Old Trafford. We have emerged him as a priority target. It did say Leicester wanted around £60 million for him. Like I said, we'd be more than happy to pay £60 million for James Maddison, but I think now he's willing to stay with Leicester. I don't think he's going to intend on spending the rest of his playing career, with Leicester. But I think he wants to remain loyal to them at least. To remain loyal to that Leicester at least for another season. But I like James Maddison a lot. He's very, very young. He's only 22 years of age. Obviously, Premier League proven. He's obviously got a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League, but last season was fantastic. Was involved in 14 goals, created more chances than any other player. Obviously, Manchester United have not yet, put a formal bid in for James Maddison. He is an attacking midfielder, and Solskjaer wants to bring players in who he thinks have got that work ethic and that physicality. And, definitely, James Maddison has got that, without a shadow of a doubt. And he fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. If Leicester could get £60 million for him, obviously, Leicester would gain around a £40 million million profit. But I think James Maddison has got some reservations about joining Manchester United because obviously, we haven't got Champions League football for next season. So it does say the likes of City, Liverpool and Tottenham are in for him. Obviously, last summer, Leicester paid £20 million for him from Norwich. I think he did have a couple of seasons in the Championship with Norwich and he did really, really well. He exceeded expectation levels. And he did sign a 5-year deal with Leicester last summer, so he's under contract with them until 2023. So there has been a lot of talks about James Maddison going on. Obviously, British as well. Obviously, Solskjaer showed an interest in quite a few young upcoming British players. But yeah, I think he'd be a fantastic replacement for Paul Pogba. So there's so many midfielders on our agenda. Like I said, it's one of the priority areas where we need to strengthen up. We need a replacement for Herrera. It was a bad mistake, us letting Ander Herrera go on a free transfer. I think we need definitely a centre defensive midfielder because I said Scott McTominay is too inexperienced. I did say, obviously Fellaini left back in January. I think Matic's age, I've got reservations about him. He's too slow, too ineffective in that midfield. This is why I think we need a centre defensive midfielder. So that is a very, very essential indeed. Obviously, as he updated you earlier on as well about Matthias de Ligt from Ajax. Obviously, I think we are set now to miss out on Matthias de Ligt, even though we have emerged him as a priority target. Obviously, we want to bring him in, to address our defensive deficiencies, which I do believe that Matthias de Ligt would. But I think now we are set to miss out on him, and I think the main factor reason why we are set to miss out on Matthias de Ligt because obviously we're not in Champions League football for next season. So I think this is the main factor reason why we are set to miss out on him, because I think for Matthias de Ligt's perspective, he wants to join a team that can offer him, of course, Champions League football. But we do know it's looking very imminent. He's going to be leaving Ajax. It still remains uncertain where he will be applying his trade next season because obviously he hasn't made a decision on his future yet. I think it did say sometime next week Matthias de Ligt is set to make a decision on his future, but he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. He has been widely spoken about, and so many teams have inquired about his services. But I think recent reports have actually said that his likely destinations are either going to be Barcelona or PSG. So I think he's set to make a choice, between Barcelona and PSG. So Barcelona are considered as the favourites. They've been the favourites anyway, at least for the last 2 months. And now obviously PSG are considered as one of the favourites. Liverpool, I do believe, are in there as well. Obviously they've inquired about his services. I was reading quite a few reports the other day saying that Matthias de Ligt's agent, Raiola, from his preference, he wants his client to join Liverpool. And like I said, I think the main factor reason why Liverpool have expressed their interest in him, because obviously Liverpool have got Van Dijk, and Virgil van Dijk and Matthias de Ligt know each other really well. Obviously they're both Dutch and all that, and they're both playing the Netherlands national team. So this is the main factor reason why Liverpool are interested in him. Obviously as well, like I said, PSG are in for him. Juventus are also in for him. I think recently Bayern Munich were in for him, but I think now Bayern Munich have opted him out of the race. But in terms of the transfer fees, Matthias de Ligt is going to cost you from between 70 to 75 million pounds. But I do believe now Manchester United are set to miss out on him. Even though it did say we were willing to offer him a lucrative contract, worth up to £350,000 a week. Obviously, this equates to almost £17 million a year and all that. And he did say the other week he was willing to accept our contract offer to his representatives and all that. He was willing to accept our contract offer, and he was keen on the move to Manchester United. But obviously, as it came out the other week, it did basically say that talks between Matthias de Ligt and Barcelona had stalled. And obviously, the main factor reason why this occurred, because obviously, he was reflecting on the financial demands, basically. Barcelona were not willing to meet what de Ligt was demanding, what his agent Raiola was demanding. So this was the stumbling block, basically. But I do believe either way, at least in the last couple of months, Barcelona have been in the ascendancy. Reports came out from Sky Sports the other week saying that Barcelona are set to sign, Matthias de Ligt is set to join Barcelona. Barcelona have already got a deal over the line for his current teammate Frankie de Jong, who Barcelona, I think got around I think they got him for around 65 million pounds. But yeah, I think he's going to be either going to Barcelona or PSG, according to recent reports. But he's very, very young. He's 19 years of age. He has still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. And I'd love him to come to Manchester United. I'd love him to come to the Premier League, because Manchester United, he would be a short first team football. First team football would be much easier for him at Manchester United than it would be for him at Barcelona, of course. But I think he wants to be in Champions League football, does Matthias de Ligt. Obviously enjoyed a very good season last season with Ajax, of course. Ajax won the domestic double last season for the first time in 17 years. They won the Eredivisie title for the first time in 5 years, and of course progressed to the Champions League semi-final. So he did really, really well. So he can leave Ajax, with his head held up high, but it still remains uncertain where he will be applying his trade next season. And he has spent the entirety of his career with Ajax. I think he's been in Ajax played since what, the age of 8, the age of 9. I think he also won the Golden Boy Award last year. But like I said, I think also Manchester City have inquired about his services. Obviously, they're looking for a replacement for Vincent Kompany. But I don't think Manchester United now are going to get Matty Stillett. I'd have loved him to come in, because I think he'd have blended in fantastically well alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. Like I said, we need 2 central defenders anyway, because Smalling and Jones are no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. Smalling's been here 9 years, Jones has been here 8 years, so they've been 2 long-serving players at the club, and obviously they have demonstrated with how long they've been here that they can play well, that they can hold the line, but they're too inconsistent now. So I think we need 2 central defenders. It was a bad mistake from us giving Smalling and Jones a new long-term contract. But I think we're set to miss out on Matty Stillett. And obviously, we've got other central defenders on our agenda. Obviously, Koulibaly, but I don't see Koulibaly happening now, because obviously, Napoli have priced him out of the transfer market. They're demanding an extortionate price for him. They want around £150 million for him, even though recent reports are saying we're preparing to put an £84 million bidding for him. But obviously, this figure's not going to be enough to convince Napoli to sell him, because obviously, it was only the other week that we had around a £90 million bid turned down for him. And obviously, that was one of the Koulibaly was one of the players that Jose Mourinho, of course, wanted to bring in, and obviously the process started about Koulibaly under Jose Mourinho, and the rumours have continued to persist about Koulibaly, since last summer. But I don't see us getting Koulibaly, to be quite honest with you. There's been talks about Toby Alderweireld, but I don't think that's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans to bring Toby Alderweireld in. Harry Maguire, I like Harry Maguire a lot, and I would take him at Manchester United, but I don't think we would be willing to pay £90 million. Leicester have priced him out of the transfer market. Leicester have said they want around £90 million. I think they want at least £75 million, because that's what they previously valued Harry Maguire at, around £75 million. But with Harry Maguire, I just don't think he's worth £90 million, and I don't think we'll be willing to pay that. Obviously, Manchester United and Manchester City have got the financial power, to Manchester United and Manchester City have got the financial power, to meet that £90 million valuation, but I just don't think, Harry Maguire's worth £90 million. He's Premier League proven. He's been at Leicester a couple of seasons, become an integral part of their team. I think he played well in the England game in England's game against the Netherlands yesterday, and he's got a lot of years ahead of him. But like I said, I just wouldn't pay £90 million for him. Like I said, I think we need a right back. We need a replacement for Antonio Valencia. Definitely, we definitely need a replacement for him. We need a cover up for that. We need an upgrade to Ashley Young, because Ashley Young's no longer got the abilities, to fulfill that right back position, because he's past his sell-by date. He's too old now, so we need to bring a right back in, and that's one of the areas where we do need to strengthen up, and we need a cover up for Diego Dalot. But like I said, I think the players that are set to leave the club, probably going to be Darmian and Rojo. An estimated guess we can get around £25 million for Matteo Darmian and Rojo. And like I said, Sanchez should be leaving the club. Obviously, I haven't heard more additional information about him. I heard a couple of weeks ago, Juventus and Inter Milan were in for him. We're willing to let him go on a long season loan. We're willing to pay half of his wages off. Obviously, we can't get rid of him permanently, based on his substantial wages, because obviously he's on £400,000 a week, potentially rising up to £500,000 a week, based on the image rights, and obviously, the bonuses and all that. He rises up to around £500,000 a week, so his wages are having a really bad effect on the football club, and he's one of the problematic players, so we have to get rid of Alexis Sanchez. Like I said, with Lukaku at the moment, not too sure about Lukaku, because obviously, we've put a huge transfer fee in him, so there's a possibility he could stay. I think Matt's going to be definitely leaving, because he's coming to an end of his contract, and the club have failed to agree a contract extension. Looking likely De Gea's going to be leaving, because he's blatantly made it clear he's not willing to sign a new contract with Manchester United, so I think definitely, David De Gea is going to be leaving. Like I said, we want to cash in for De Gea this summer, rather than letting go on a free transfer next year, because obviously if we're letting go on a free transfer next year, that would be a calamity. Indeed, I think he's probably going to end up going to PSG's De Gea, because obviously, Buffon is set to leave PSG. But yeah, now obviously, Daniel James is going to be our first signing. Obviously, we've got to create a platform now and build on that. Try and obviously, get more players in along with Daniel James, of course. So who is going to be our next signing after Daniel James? And that is the question. Is it going to be Bruno Fernandes? I don't think it's going to be Matty Stillett now, according to recent reports. So who is it going to be? Is it going to be Thomas Meunier? Who's our next signing? Going to be after Daniel James? And that is the question indeed. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.